guys, hope you're doing well. Wanted to share a short video with you about the estrous cycle. I feel like this might be helpful to you in discussing the different types of hormones that are secreted during the estrous cycle. So the overall estrous cycle, this is what prepares the female for pregnancy. And the estrous cycle is divided into some separate phases here. The first phase is proestrus. So proestrus, there's a couple of things happening. We have our hormones listed up here. We have FSH, which is follicle stimulating hormone, LH, which is luteinizing hormone, estrogen, and progesterone. So during proestrus, our levels of FSH and LH are increased. So what these hormones do is they literally prepare the ovaries for the egg. So the follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the growth of a follicle on the ovary, and the follicle is where the development of the egg is going to happen. So those two hormones are going to be higher during proestrus. Following proestrus, we have estrus. And this part of the cycle is what we call the heat cycle, or when the female is sexually receptive to the male. So the follicle has formed on the ovary, and at this point, we want the follicle to be released through ovulation. So these hormones will now decrease, and we'll see an increase of estrogen. So estrogen levels are going to be high during the estrus phase. This is going to stimulate the release of the egg from the follicle, which is called ovulation. And estrogen is also going to cause the female to change her behavior and change the way she responds to a male. So she's going to be more responsive to breeding and / mating at this point. So after estrus, what happens is metestrus. So at this point, we've had ovulation, and the body is hopeful that a sperm will meet the egg and fertilize the egg. So during this phase, our estrogen level now decreases and our progesterone level increases. So progesterone is called the pregnancy hormone. So this is the hormone that maintains a pregnancy. It does a lot of things in the body to help to maintain a pregnancy. So the reason that it increases during metestrus is because we don't want another follicle to form and start producing another egg, because we're hopeful that the egg that was already released has become fertilized. So progesterone is going to spike during this phase because we sort of want to tell the body to, okay, stop with the ovulation. We're going to wait a little bit and see what happens. So if the egg has become fertilized and a pregnancy has been established, that level of progesterone is going to stay high throughout the entire pregnancy. And that's what's going to prevent future ovulation and future formation and release of eggs. If there's no pregnancy, then the body will be able to detect that. Progesterone will decrease, and then the body goes into what's called anestrus, or without estrus. This is a phase of quiet reproductive behavior. So there's not much going on really with any of these hormones until we cycle back to the beginning. So these cycles, the length of these cycles vary considerably within species. For example, dogs. Dogs are considered to be monoestrous, meaning they typically have one cycle, full cycle per year. It really is every 6 to 8 months. So technically it could be 2 cycles, but typically we say 1 cycle per year. So every 6 to 8 months, the dog will automatically go through the estrus cycle. And during that cycle, the dog will remain in heat, or estrus, for anywhere from 3 to 21 days, meaning that the female is sexually receptive and able to successfully mate and have a fertilized egg anywhere from 3 to 21 days. And that happens typically once a year. Horses, for example, they're different. So their estrus cycle can happen every 21 days. However, they're seasonal. They only go through estrus one time a year. Typically in nature, this is around the springtime. Now, breeders have been able to artificially change that a little bit. But if we're talking about in nature, Horses are springtime breeders, so every 21 days in the spring, they will experience an estrus cycle. During that cycle, they will be in heat for about 2 to 3 days. This can all be found in your book. There's a table that shows you all of the different times, the length of cycles, how often they cycle, the length of the estrus or heat phase during the cycle. So I encourage you to check that out. The last thing that I want to ask you is about your test. So I originally had scheduled your test for this coming Friday. You're finishing up your Nearpod this week. You're going over the clinical practice section and you're wrapping things up, getting ready for your test. So what I want you to do is I want you to leave me a comment after you watch this video, and I want you to tell me if you want to take your test on Friday or if you want to push it to Monday. I feel like you might need a little bit more time with this chapter. This will also tell me if you watched the video or not. So leave me a comment. Let me know if you want to take the test on Friday or if you want to push it to Monday. And after your reproductive system, we're moving on to the nervous system. That's going to be the last chapter for this year. So again, I hope you guys are all doing well. I can't wait to see you all again. This remote learning thing is kind of crazy, right? So hopefully we'll all be back together soon, and I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.